Do you avoid a lot of your anxiety or OCD? We're going to talk about how that grows it bigger. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist and make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I'm going to talk to you about the number one thing that the majority of people with anxiety and OCD do. And that is avoid. Do you avoid? We're going to talk about how people avoid and how it grows the anxiety and OCD and what to do about it in this episode. But before I continue, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when I make new videos. Don't want you to miss those. So let's talk about avoidance. A lot of times people don't have avoidance on their radar. Anxiety and OCD want you to do what it wants you to do. And a lot of times, especially for anxiety, and depending on your theme with OCD, it can be big too, is just to avoid. I don't want to go to school. It makes me so anxious. I just won't go. I don't want to go to that party. It makes my social anxiety worried. I'm just not going to go. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that paper. What if I don't do it perfectly? I just won't do it. I don't want to go to that meeting. It's so overwhelming. I just won't go. I'll make an excuse. Does that sound familiar? I'm afraid to go to bed. It's scary. I just won't go to sleep. I'll distract myself. I'll play on my phone, right? I can give you a million examples, just replace whatever I'm saying with your anxiety, and it's most likely that you've avoided. Now, OCD can be similar because avoidance can actually be an OCD compulsion. So if I'm having upsetting, intrusive thoughts about something, I might say, I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to avoid eye contact with that. I'm going to avoid touching things. I'm going to avoid maybe looking at certain things. I may be avoiding certain words, certain colors. I mean, it can be anything. But avoidance is a compulsion, and that is really often missed with OCD. So, what do you do about this? Well, the first step is really understanding that avoidance is a problem. Avoidance is not your solution. It is part of your problem. And having anxiety myself, I get that avoidance feels really good. I rather avoid than having like my upset stomach and my anxiety, all those symptoms that pop up when I'm stressed. I rather just avoid the whole thing completely, right? Or if I have OCD, I just rather not even look at it, and then that way I'm not triggered. But the more we avoid, the bigger our anxiety or OCD grows. And so avoidance is a short-term problem that will guarantee a long-term mess. And we don't want that, even though it can feel good in the moment. So what do you do with that? You want to take small steps towards your fear or towards the thing that triggers your OCD, not to overwhelm yourself, but to learn how to sit with that discomfort. It doesn't mean that if I have social anxiety and I avoid going to parties, that I'm going to sign up for the biggest party I can find and I'm not going to avoid it and I'm going to go. No, that would be overwhelming. Or if I have OCD, I'm not going to avoid toilets anymore. I'm just going to go around touching toilets all over the place. Probably not, right? That's too big. But you want to ask yourself when you find yourself avoiding, and it can be so different for each one of you depending on whether you have anxiety or OCD, what your themes are. But the common thing is just the avoidance, right? You want to ask yourself, what small step can I do moving towards this instead of away from this? It can be very tiny. So if I'm avoiding calling people, maybe I just start with just, picking up the phone and then shutting it down. Or if I'm avoiding going to school, maybe I'm going to go to the parking lot, or I'm going to show up for the first hour. It will be different for each one of you, but I want you to ask yourself, what's one tiny step that I can do to move towards that discomfort instead of away from it? And when you think that way, when you think just what's one little step I can do towards it, it doesn't mean you have to go all the way. It doesn't mean it has to be a really huge thing. It just means that I'm going to move one step forward before pausing or not doing the rest to show my anxiety or OCD that I am in charge and that I can sit with discomfort one small step at a time. So for the next week, here's a little homework if you want one. Pay attention to what you're avoiding. Be aware of it and ask yourself, am I avoiding this because of my anxiety or my OCD? A lot of times we're not even aware of that. And if the answer is yes, take one step towards it instead of away from it. Well, I hope you find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll talk to you again next Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.